All right, Jordan, go ahead.
Do you know why late August and early September is the best time of the year? No, it's not because school is starting. And no, it's not because summer is coming to an end. It's because fantasy football is starting. Fantasy football is personally one of my favorite things in this whole wide world. I'm a huge fan of it. The reason why I'm going to inform you about fantasy football is because it's been on my mind a lot recently. I was recently put in a league with the Northwest Mississippi Community College baseball team. For a lot of people, that is their first time playing, and there's a lot of people that are not playing and want to know more about it. So I thought in this speech I might tell some people. So I'm here to explain how fantasy football works. There are four big things that you have to play fantasy football. There are the requirements, you have to have a draft, you have the strategy, you have to strategize and plan, and then there's the watching and playing of fantasy football. So first, there are the requirements. According to NFL.com/fantasyfootball, you must follow all the rules that are in place. Some of these rules include putting forth an effort, following the procedures, or obeying the scoring system. And failure to follow those things can get you kicked out of the league. Also, before you can even start a league, you have to find people to be in the league. So, according to forums.footballguys.com, a good competitive league usually has about 10 to 12 people. So those are some of the requirements you have to play fantasy football. Next, there is the draft. Now, in a draft, it is preferred that you are in a snake draft. And that means each pick, the first pick in the first round, is randomly selected. So, for example, according to games.espn.com, if you had the first pick, your next pick would be 20th in the second round. That is in a 10-minute. So if you had the 6th pick in the next round, you would then have the 14th pick. Now in the draft, analysts usually provide a projected number of points the players are supposed to get throughout the year. And my advice is to always listen to them because they study this and do it for a living. And so they usually know what they're talking about more than what we do. So that's in the draft. Next, you have to strategize and plan. So in the draft, you draft 15 players, and only 9 get to play. So you have to choose who you want to play throughout that week. The analysts, once again, provide a prediction for how many points they'll score, but based on the week. And you want your team to score the most points, because the team that does have the most points wins the week. And you're always facing a one-week opponent, and then you face a 15-week season. So you want more points than your opponent for yourself to win. But you get these points based on how your players do. So players, quarterbacks throwing touchdowns, or running backs rushing yards, wide receiving, catching yards, anything, that's how you get your points. So my advice when picking the players to play is to always go with your guts. Usually works like that. The last part's the fun part, and that is watching and playing. After all the preparing you've done, it's time for you to get to watch your players. This is when you hope and pray they do good so you can win. You get to watch your players. Also, this is a tip, watch your players with your own eyes. Because when you watch them, you can tell a little bit about them and tell if you want them to play for you in the future or not. See how they do. So in conclusion, this was just a general description of how fantasy football works. You have to meet the requirements, you gotta have a draft, you have to strategize and plan, and then you need to watch them play. So, of course, fantasy football is a great hobby of mine now, and if you're interested in watching sports, I recommend that you play fantasy football or any other fantasy league. And so, this is why late August and early September is the